Works, fine. Okay, hello everybody. Let's start with this. Who is this? My name is Stephan. I'm the founder and managing director of solutionIT Managed Security as part of the solutionIT group. Short parts from my history. I worked for a long time as a senior security consultant and trusted security advisor. So I worked together with customers all over the world to introduce, to concept, to implement security options, managed services, and everything that comes behind. I was duty as an EMEA technical manager within the security company, and actually, and in my former past, I worked as security managed service architect, as I said. Please jump in during the presentation if you have questions. Let's go deeper if you're interested to know how we do things. Because what it's fair to say, I'm an absolutely C-Table fanboy. We started with C-Table 2 years before. And now I can say, if C-Table won't work, my company will go down after, let's say, 2 or 3 hours. So there was a slightly move into the C-Table web. Okay, what I prepared is a short overview of solutionIT, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what may you want us to do for you. Next will be what we do with C-Table, what is our future with C-Table, and in the end, some challenges and wishes. If you have a good idea how we can solve the challenges, please be open. It's great to have you guys here, so I prepared some wishes. All right, solutionIT Group means actually 2 companies. solutionIT with a focus on project business, consulting, security advisory, and data center provider for hosting and housing. So everything is specialized for IT security in all different technical kinds, parts, aspects you can imagine. solutionIT Managed Security is a newer company and is focused on security managed service delivery. So we decided to put it into a specified company because consulting is a one-man show. You have to handle the customer. If you handle the project, you are the Hulk that doing the project. And managed services is a team thing. So good consultants are not good managed service providers. So we decided to split it up. What we're doing, we're working in the areas of platform as a service, software as a service, administration as a service. And based on the knowledge and the work I had in my past, I decided to do it slightly different. So we put the thing co-managed services in place. If you want to know more about it, I can tell you a couple of hours what's the specific unique things. What is our history with C-Table? As company and with C-Table, so solutionIT founding in 2010. Our first go live with security managed like offering was 2017. 2019 solutionIT Managed Security followed. And 2021, we started with C-Table. So end of last year, we announced, or we put our actual current service, a secure SOC service, go to live. And 2023, we will start with C-File, based on the event yesterday. Okay, why solutionIT? With all of our members, our employees, we have security know-how since 1992. For more than 15 years, we are partnered with global market leaders, so we have contacts, we have knowledge about a wide range of vendors, how they're seeing security, how they want to implement it, how they're doing it. We have customers from SMB to enterprise market. We try to standardize and not to focus on specific branches or specific customer types. We want to offer security services that can work for a small company with a couple of guys up to 200,000, 300,000 users. We have project experience in all of our services, so sorry for using the word, use your own shit. So we work with all our services. There's no service that we are selling to a customer that we are not using on our own. It's always a good marketing stuff to say, hey, if I sell it to you and it won't work, I will kill myself. So it's a good part. First point of contact for support, consulting for all services. So there's no service where we put the vendor in front. We are in front, we help the customers. We are the medium to get to a third level support case, for example, but we are the guys that runs the services and tries to help and be part of the daily business of the customers. Qualitative technical expertise through daily involvement sounds like a standard phrase, but it's a different for most of our customers if there's somebody that is specialized in security and knows other environments and other customers, or there's only a guy that knows one internal solution and one internal environment. These 3 pain points we try to solve: increasing complexity, time pressure, lack of talents, and our idea is to efficient protection against more attacks, faster and with less effort. Last slide to this. Our service portfolio, based on the names, you can imagine in what parts these services are playing. And just to give you a short overview of our technology partners and concept partners we're defining our services with, and we offer consulting, concept, and architecture work to customers if they want to. Questions? Otherwise, I will jump into the cTable part. All right. What do we do with cTable? As I said, cTable is deeply involved in our daily business, and I just put together the first departments and processes I had in mind where cTable is involved, where cTable completely took over the process of the whole department work, and where we started to implement cTable as a centralized topic. That's it. I can't give you all the slides of processes, how it's implemented, how it's working, how it looks like, how we link all the things together. So if you have a question to one specific thing out of it, I can tell you how we solved it or how we do it. And if you're interested in and sign an NDA, so not publish our internal information, I can show it to you afterwards if you're interested to. If you see a point where you say, okay, cool, how do you realize this? Be open and ask. Shall I proceed? Or some question? Okay. So what I prepared is an overview what techniques of cTable we used in what process or what part or department. So I just put a couple of colored dots. We are working with at least all features. Some small kinds I learned yesterday in the evening what we're not using, but I prepared an overview for a universal app, as Christoph has shown. Web formula structured processes means behind these base or behind these process, there's a structured way how we will process information within cTable, how different departments or different views or external partners will have access, will insert, will do data enrichment and so on. So there's a process behind where we will use automation and where notifications means scripts, email notifications or whatever will part of the process. So universal app is used actually in these parts. What is, to be honest, not enough. So we have to improve here a lot. These are the processes and parts where we use web formulas for getting information into cTable, for giving an API to external customers or a link to external customers to register for an event or such easy things. These are the points where we're working with structured processes. So as I said, where bigger processes, linked processes in the background. These are the use cases where we work with automation. That's not the part that you've shown with the workflows. So it would be great if you will release it tomorrow. We're using quite basic features like if a table has these information, then do that, or if these information are present in that way, then please send out a mail. These are the triggers and these are the informations or notifications we're working on now. These kind of workflows will be absolutely awesome. So this is the notifications part. So as we see, there are parts like the investment planning, where we have a really static data put in place, where we put a couple of statistics out, but there's no let's say, no complex process or notifications behind. On the other side, like a global corporate calendar where we see vacations, illness, events, everything that have our guys in their calendar that is important for everybody else to plan vacations, to plan. So these are the most used bases because it's important for everybody, for every employee on a daily basis. Make sense?
So it means you don't have a CRM system, HR system, everything is like built on.
The good thing is, yes. The bad thing is, yes. So what does it mean? There are millions of specialized software products out there. What is my intention, or what is my way I want to follow, is that the software has to follow my company and not my company has to follow the software. So it means that with C-Table we are nearly able to do everything. We slightly have to change our processes or how we work with the data slightly a little bit. Our biggest problem is the transparency and the way of presenting information back to users. I will come to that. So that is the biggest part we are working on because the number of bases, the number of information, the number of processes are increasingly heavily. And now there's no other people or no other person in my company that knows how C-Table is linked and interacting. I'm the only guy that knows. If I will get under the bus tomorrow, the whole company will have a problem. So that is not a good situation. Does it answer your question? Okay. All right, our future with C-Table. What we will do after yesterday, we will have a look into C-File. We used a different kind of file synchronization today, what is more like picking stones instead of working digitally if we compare it with C-File. And I have absolutely no idea why I worked with C-Table for 2 years and didn't know about the other option. I think it's pretty sure we will migrate. I'm really looking forward to CDoc, to be honest. It would be great to rip off all the Microsoft stuff, if that will be possible to work on a daily basis for content creation, file creation, concept work, and all these stuff without doing everything in the Microsoft world will be fine. So let's see how far we can go. Expanding collaboration to partners and customers. Currently, we are evolving heavily internally. What we do with customers is project management, for example, doing POCs, POVs, interconnecting for events and so on. What I want to do is, for our service delivery, I want the customer to be a fixed part within our C-Table work. So I will that all of our service guys, service partners will get access to it, will work in it for change management, project management, priority stuff, and all these things. Interconnecting C-Table with ticket systems of customers, for example. I think there's a lot of options, a lot of opportunities to work more efficient and to work more closer to the customer. Increasing automation and base interconnection. We started with interconnection, and if you know C-Table, you know that you can build several departments within in the software to say, okay, here's my sales, my technical, and then I can put base or create bases in these departments. What I didn't know that if I split it up in departments, I never can connect these bases together. So I started to move everything again, put everything in one centralized department, and publish bases and tables to people. If you publish bases and tables to people, they're not administrators anymore of the bases, and you have to think a little bit around. So yesterday somebody told we went through a little or a couple of iterations. It's exactly what we did. So we learned how to use it, but we never have to change our process or our way of thinking our services. We just have to understand C-Table and C-Table options a little bit better over time. Replacement of third-party tools through C-Table expansion. There are a couple of software types, especially for German regulations and also awesome things and stuff I want to rip off immediately. I try to do it. So every day, what is really funny, if you see your colleagues to think, hey, can we solve with C-Table? And if not, do we need this process? It's an interesting way of thinking that all the colleagues are thinking the same. And before we're thinking of implementing a new tool, an external link, all the guys at first try to think about how we can solve it with C-Table. This is a cool thing to see. Implementing security concepts to harden external access. Actually, we have our C-table instance in our data center. It's published externally for customers to access, but also that means if somebody publish, for example, our procurement or our invoicing, the base to an external user, this external user will all see the internal data. We have a couple of customers where we had to sign data contracts where it's slightly critical if that will happen. So what we decided to implement a reverse proxy and block internal bases if they will open this URL. So everybody can access the platform from externally, but only internal people working from company managed devices are able to see internal bases. That was an easy step, but as I asked yesterday for security integrations for file upload into C-file, we have to make clear that no violent information or no violent code or files will have access or will get into the system, because within this system, our whole company information will be present. So we have to do our homework in the way of how we will secure the web application. Increasing monitoring, reporting to really as real-time analysis. You have a short picture, a short screen of statistics, what kind of statistic you will see. What is absolutely amazing, we're using a time tracking tool for daily time tracking for all our technicians to get to a billing process in the end of the month. And we moved it to that way that all the guys will monitor or will put their time into C-table. So I can sit down, relax with a coffee, and see how the graphs will change over the day. When all our people will put their times in, I will see, okay, this month we have to get to, for example, a project percentage of 90%, or I want to charge a customer for 40 hours of service delivery every month. And I will see based on graphs when we get to the point, when our monthly target is done, when I have enough money to invest into the next step, or when a colleague can say, hey, that was an absolutely freaking week, can I have a day off? It's all like this. It's all based on information, all based on what is our performance in this month, and now we have all the information present right in the click. And it took me hours, it took me days, and a couple of people to realize this before. All right. Good things. On the other side, we have challenges where we have to find solutions for. For example, automated information import from emails. So it would be absolutely awesome if I can kick off our ticket system. I think the base is there, so it could be, but to go that way to implement a real ticket system, a real service desk into C-table is a challenge. Could be. Maybe we have to cut out a couple of smaller things, but it's a challenge for next year to see if this will work. So I know there's always ways by implementing APIs, other sources to get information into, but if there's an option to say, okay, I sent an email to an inbox that is monitored from C-table, and then it will be parsed into an entry for a base. Wow. Cool. Okay, but let's see. I don't know if you know the product Kiata from Secura. It's a file sharing platform we use to share service documents with our customers. And right now we create the documents in C-table, export it, log into Kiata, and upload it. So we're looking for a solution to directly push the information from C-table into the solution to work more effective, to give builds and all the service stuff directly to customers. We can solve it with an API call, I think. We only have to figure it out how it will be the best way. But it will work, I'm sure. The services integration I had here, this is the thing I'm thinking about, because what we are doing is, for example, IP management in a very complex way. So we're talking about, let's say, 300 customers, and we are having all the IP networks, IP management, and asset management for all of our service customers within our service desk. Getting that over to C-table will be a huge improvement for working with these data, because it's very complex to organize it where we do it now. But to have it in an overview, in the transparency way that all our technical guys can work with it on a daily basis is a challenge, but we have to see how to do. Make sense? Cool. Okay, challenges and wishes. Challenge 1, this is a quarter of my C-table account. Behind all these folders, you have slightly a couple of more bases. So this is, but this is a normal look of an employee that logs in C-table every morning. You can imagine that not all of these guys will monitor and report and get into their bases as I wish to. So I have to find a way how all these guys will do their reporting stuff, will get their information, and let's say up to 80% of these bases are linked together. So by reporting into one base, you will change things in other bases, and all this interconnection stuff, that's the database part. And what I'm getting more into and why how I see C-table for the last month is that C-table should evolve to a database in the backend. And we have to present the information transparent and easy to the users. Nobody have to understand this except of me and maybe 2 other guys. But the users have to be able to work easily with it. So universal app is the biggest step in that way. What we have to solve is to get several bases, so not seeing a universal app for one base. I want to see universal apps for C-table. To say, okay, I have one process, for example, order management, and for order management, I will do a universal app, but in order management, I will link to 50 bases, whatever. And getting information out of every base I need presented in one centralized view and be able to monitor, to put in data, to report everything. That's a part where we have to get to. It's a little bit like if we put a view into software creation, it's like putting a GUI onto C-table, but it will be, for us, the only way to follow this way further and to maybe rip off like service desk or other things. And if we get to that flexibility, I'm not sure if there's a software solution out there we need next to C-table anymore. Maybe Outlook. Okay. Second challenge. This is a screenshot of our billing base. So these people that are doing our billing stuff internally have to deal with the base with 97 columns actually increasing. You know the widescreen Dell screens? So our billing guys have 3 of them, and they have the base open over all of these 3 screens, because there's no way to work with views. We have views in it. So if I show you the complete, we have at least 250 columns, I think. So there are views in place, but I have to present one row in a different way. You know what I mean? So it's not able anymore to work in a table view. It's way too easy to click in a different row and to put in the information in there for a different billing. And if you put a 0 in the end or in the front, it can be slightly different for the bill in the end for the customer. So it's important stuff to look into that point and to make it easier. I had an idea before and say, hey, will it be great to have a page editor plugin like option to design universal apps in a flexible way? So I want a universal app site where I can say, okay, on the top left, there's a date. On the top right, there are contacts. On the bottom, there are the last entries for communication. I updated the slide a couple of minutes before. Please, can you publish it before version 5? So the single record page, as I understood, will be exactly this part. So presenting parts of information, parts of bases in a transparent, different way. So like I can go through my projects like Tinder and look, okay, project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it just move around and will swipe between the entries. This will be an option to present complex information in a very easy way. Would be great. Wishes. What I've learned yesterday, there is an option, or if you invite your colleague into a base, you can use this member as part of a column. So what I actually do, so we have 25 people I have to put in our project management, and I create single views and single sites within Universal Apps for every people. Put a filter in place where I say, okay, if in that column entry I can see the name of the administrator, show these entries. The basic idea is a technician only should see the projects she is involved into. For creating concepts, for creating documentations, only the guys that are responsible for creating and for changing should have writable access. All the others should only see something. And for that usage, I have to filter on users. I can filter on users, but only if they are published as read-write options, as I understood now. So if I do individual writes, I can't use these users anymore as filter option. So that will decrease the number of views at least by 50%.
There is basically a solution for that. Let me show that to you afterwards. Using the user ID. That's a little bit hidden, but
yeah.
let me show it to you.
Ah, cool. So it can be that the solution is already there, I even don't know. So that was the point I put it. Centralized rights overview for a single user and group. Remember the picture where I put all the bases in place? And now remember what process we have to follow when a new employee comes into the company. We have to put in place access rights for all bases, for all columns, for cell entries, for universal apps, and for roles within universal apps. To be honest, if you ask me if I know the rights of an employee, no. I have absolutely no idea. And I have absolutely no idea what steps I have to follow if I get a new employee into the system, because cTable evolves in such a fast way that rights management changes on a daily basis. So what happens, a new employee comes into the company, and every time he missing rights, we will add. But it's not a good way to do a deployment or an onboarding. The same thing is if somebody will get out of the company or an external user or whatever, I have to monitor and I have to guarantee that the access rights for users are correct based on the critical data we are processing within cTable. Currently, I only can go through all the lists and see if the rights are correct or not, but there's no centralized way, or I don't know, maybe it is, to say, hey, give me all the rights and all the access permissions of one user. That would be great. And even the other way around, if I can get it out, maybe I can get it in and say, okay, this is my web form, I have a new deployment, and I put a couple thousand of marks, and afterwards a new people or a new user will be published into the system, and all the access and rights are there. Option to block users from creating own bases. I'm not sure if this is able right now. Really? Absolutely cool. Really? Cool. Okay, I like flexibility, it's absolutely awesome, but every week I get in contact with a colleague and he tells me, hey, I put an absolutely base in place. Shit. It's on his own part, it's complex as hell. When I export it and I import it, I have the values, but not all the cool stuff, and I have to build it completely from scratch new, but in the admin section and not on the user section. So it would be great to say, okay, I will do an internal ticket to say, hey, give me a new base. I want to test something cool. But in that way, I have it in the right department or the right place within cTable, and I don't have to migrate it afterwards. That's the reason why I put it. Keep on doing YouTube videos. It's absolutely awesome. So it's an easy way for communication. We need release pages. We need documentations, all this stuff. But what I do, I share these videos within our company and say, hey, Chris, look at minute 3, there's a reason why you only can click 10 buttons and afterwards cTable doing crazy stuff, because the automation level was increased from 10 to 50. So these kinds of small things have a huge impact to the daily business, and doing this or presenting this in a YouTube way, it's a very easy way. It don't have to be shiny, awesome. It's just an easy way to get information. Or a webcast or whatever. It's an easy way to do it, I hope. Fixed table column size and formatted texts. What we're doing our quoting actually with formatted text fields, But if you put longer text in a table that you put into a formatted text field, it scratches and you can't read anymore. So if there's an option to fix table sizes, or I don't know what will be the future based on your information, because you said you will change the formatted text column, this will be awesome to better work with tables in formatted text columns. Know what I mean? Okay, that's it. Any questions? Whatever.
I've got a question about what you said at the beginning of the presentation. Thanks for the presentation. It's quite really nice.
Cool, thanks.
And it's about the implementation of the reverse proxy.
Yeah.
You have, and you're running your own C-table systems, I understand. And you just want to have some interaction with the published part, published basis, like with customer feedback surveys, something like that. And you want to have a red line around some basis concerning your critical business.
Yeah.
That's correct. And you're doing this right now with the reverse proxy and a list of domains, something like this?
URLs. So what is really cool, please don't change it, that if you open the base is named in the URL.
Yes.
So based on the URL, we can put a whitelist in place where I say, okay, from externally, these bases are able to open, these not.
Okay. And you would like to see this implemented on a network level or some other level, but you want to have, I understand the need. You have critical business data, but you want to have some stuff open to the public, but you want to have this red line for other stuff.
And so with this solution, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So if there's an option within cTable or on the web server, but to have a different line of defense where I can say, okay, this is not able for you to see, absolutely great.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a good solution for the base level. What still could take place is that, for example, you have critical data and you filter it, and the filter is changed, then all of a sudden the data is just published to somebody who should appear.
Yeah, it's only a base level.
Yeah, it's a base level. So for the base level, it's a great solution thing because it's quite easy to understand and easy to implement. But you're right. The Matrix C-table has the potential that you put data in it that is critical, and it's sometimes very easy to share it with somebody who should not get it. On the other hand, this flexibility makes C-table such powerful. So it's a thin line, I think, where you put too much security stuff in it, and then it makes it unflexible or not usable or complicated. And on the other, but
Absolutely. So it's complex enough, but we need more features, and that is not easy. So, but using it or working with it on that basis, on that level, is absolutely fine. If we combine this maybe with centralized rights management or rights audit, I can put a filter on it, for example, putting into a ZM or whatever, and to highlight, okay, there's an external people that had rights or reading rights to information that they don't have to, and then I can correct it. It's okay. So it's not always thinking about prevention, it's more thinking about reporting and checking. Could be easier than implementing security stuff on a data level.
As we're just talking about these permissions and access, who get access to what, on which tool or basis, I'm pretty sure since you have a lot of stuff in here, thanks for all the insights, that you share sometimes only views instead of bases.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, so how do you know who has a shared view? Because if you share a base, you can see this person has read and write access or read only. But if you just share view, they see it in their shared base, but you don't know to whom you have shared it. Do you track this?
There is an option, so you can share, sorry for jumping in, there's an option to share a view or to share a table if you're in the base, but there's an option to create individual access roles. So if you have a base, you click on the option, say, share. There's an option to put read and write in place, but there's a button on the left side.
custom sharing permissions in English,
Yeah.
or individuelle Freigabeberechtigung in
Yeah.
German.
You have to have a look into this. This will solve your problem.
Is that the code for
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
that menu right below. So this is mainly the part we're working with. So that you can see, but if you have 40, 50 bases, you have to see. Okay, if you have questions afterwards, feel free.